So now as we continue your entertainment headlines, it is time for Rick's Reviews. 17's entertainment expert Rick Bentley joining us with your hot take on the live action remake of the 1989 Disney classic, The Little Mermaid. And I know there's been some debate, and we can talk about that. But first, I have to know, how was it?
These are so hard to review.
Yeah.
All of these. This is a continuation of Disney taking their great animated films like Aladdin and Dumbo and Pinocchio and turning them into live action. The problem I have with it is if it's a good film, the live action version's good, it's usually good because the animated version was good. So we get the great songs, we get a great story. It's always that hard part about how much do they do to try to extend it or change it, and in this case, a perfect example of this, anybody who's seen the animated Little Mermaid knows there are some wonderful songs by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, and the three of them are just great in this live version.
Okay.
There are three new songs where Lin-Manuel
Miranda, yes.
Yeah, Miranda got with Menken and wrote three new songs, and they're horrible.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so what you have is, the good part is stuff that's from the original movie. The bad part is the new stuff. But again, it's the same story. You've seen this before. Ariel has always wondered about life above the sea. She falls in love with a prince, and she has to make this deal with a sea witch, Ursula, who is played in this live version by Melissa McCarthy, to go become human for 3 days. The problem is she has to give up her voice, which means she can't tell the prince he needs to kiss her within 3 days for her to remain human. So we have that same storyline, and it all goes just like the previous film. There are even scenes in it like the Under the Sea moment, which is sung by Daveed Diggs very well, and even the staging by director Rob Marshall is almost exactly like the animated version.
Okay.
So that's really good because the animated version was really good. But then we get to things like Kiss the Girl, and they try to keep some of the same elements from the animated, but the live action version just doesn't work. And so these films are just almost impossible to review because I can't come out and flatly say, go see this movie, and I can't flatly come out and say, don't go see this movie, because it falls into that category of, well, if you love the original, maybe you'll like, and so they're just really hard to review.
And I see that a lot, and I wanted to know specifically about Halle Bailey's performance and Melissa McCarthy, because the two of them, such shining stars, but these are big roles to take on. How'd they do?
Exactly. There was a lot of mixed reaction to the casting of Halle Bailey, and I'm not going to get into that.
No, we don't need to.
That's absurd. What I'm going to say is that she has a good singing voice.
Okay.
The problem is, she's not Jodie Benson, and Benson was the original singing voice for Ariel. Benson's voice has such passion, and she's going to always be my Ariel. So no matter how good Halle Bailey does, it still comes up a little short. The problem she has is she's not a strong actress.
Okay.
And if you know the story with Ariel, once she gives up her voice, she has to sort of get across her emotion and everything by just using her face. And she just doesn't have that skill to sort of sell all those moments. So she's okay as a singer, passable as an actress, but, you know, again, nothing great about her performance. Melissa McCarthy, it really is sort of a role she was kind of born to play.
Yeah.
She can do those big, over-the-top characters, and Ursula is that. Now, we had talked about earlier, you were asking about, is it too intense?
Yes.
Most of it is just like the original film. It's very light. It's a nice romance. There's some comedy, but at the end, when Ursula finally tries to take over, it becomes kind of dark. And though Rob Marshall doesn't do the action scenes very well, there's still an intensity to Ursula in those moments. So if you've got really little ones, the last 10 minutes you may have to just keep an eye on them.
Okay.
They may be asleep by then.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too. And I love that during the break you had told me, I don't know your kids, so parents, make the decision for yourself. Yeah. I have 3 little princesses who can't wait to see it. I'm a big fan of the original, so I'm looking forward to it, and we'll chat about it after.
Yeah, and again, as far as the grade is concerned, it's a very appropriate C level.
C from Rick. Okay.